Actress Natalie Wood was found dead today.
Her body was found floating here.
Officials said she apparently drowned accidentally.
But nothing further on the circumstances.
For over 40 years, the mysterious death of Natalie Wood has haunted Hollywood like a ghost that refuses to rest. On a cold November night in 1981, the beloved star vanished from her yacht, the Splendor, leaving behind only whispers, bruises, and questions no one could answer. Was it a tragic accident or something far darker? Why does suspicion still circle around her husband, Robert Wagner? Tonight, we dive deep into the night the ocean claimed a legend and the secrets Hollywood tried to forget. The night began like many others among the elite of Hollywood. Natalie Wood, her husband Robert Wagner, and fellow actor Christopher Walken had set sail on the Splendor for a weekend getaway. The sea was restless, but the mood on board was festive. Yet beneath the polished smiles and champagne glasses, there was tension, a storm not of weather, but of emotion. Witnesses later recalled the undercurrent of jealousy, the sharp glances, and the uneasy quiet that sometimes fell between Natalie and Wagner. Sometime after 11 p.m., everything changed. Natalie disappeared. When her body was found hours later floating near the rocky shore of Catalina Island, the news sent shockwaves across the globe. She was only 43, a mother, a legend, and one of Hollywood's most adored actresses. The world wept, but behind those tears was a haunting question. How could someone who feared dark water, her entire life, end up drowning in it? Those closest to her knew of her deep, lifelong fear of open water. Lana Wood, Natalie's sister, later wrote in her memoir Little Sister that Natalie would never have willingly stepped off that. Yet at night, as a child, Natalie had been told by a fortune teller that she would die in dark water. From that day, her fear grew into obsession. She avoided boats whenever possible, even during filming. Yet the night she died, she was dressed in a flannel nightgown, socks, and a down jacket, clothes that spoke not of adventure, but of comfort and fear. According to the official report, Natalie Wood's death was first ruled an accident, a tragic fall while trying to secure a dinghy that had come loose. But that explanation never sat right with those who knew her best. Captain Dennis Davern, who was aboard the Splendor that night, would later shatter the calm facade that surrounded the case. At first, he went along with Wagner's story, but decades later, his conscience broke. In his book Goodbye Natalie, Goodbye Splendor, he revealed what he had kept silent for years, that there had been a violent argument between Wagner and Natalie before she vanished. He described shouting, breaking glass, and the chilling moment when Wagner told him not to turn on the searchlights or radio for help. "Don't do anything," he recalled Wagner saying. "Let's not turn on the searchlight." Hours passed before anyone alerted the authorities. The U.S. Coast Guard wasn't notified until 3:30 a.m., more than 4 hours after Natalie went missing. By the time Roger Smith, captain of the rescue boat, found her body, it was too late. What made the tragedy even more disturbing were the voices heard that night by people on nearby boats. Witnesses Marilyn Wayne and John Payne, anchored not far from the Splendor, later said they heard a woman's terrified cries. "Help me, someone please help me, I'm drowning." The woman screamed again and again. The cries lasted nearly 15 minutes before fading into silence. Then came a man's calm voice, responding, "Okay, honey." Those words have echoed through history as the most chilling clue of all. Marilyn Wayne reported the incident to authorities, but her warnings went unanswered. Later, she claimed she received threatening notes urging her to stay quiet. "If you value your life, keep your mouth shut," one note allegedly said. Her testimony, ignored for decades, resurfaced years later when the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department reopened the case. As new evidence emerged, so did disturbing contradictions. The toxicology report revealed Natalie's blood alcohol level was 0.14, well over the legal limit, and that she had taken motion sickness pills and painkillers. Some claimed the combination could have caused dizziness, but what the report didn't explain were the bruises, fresh marks on her arms, legs, and face, inconsistent with a simple accidental fall. These signs pointed to struggle, not misstep. In 2012, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office made a stunning move. They changed the cause of death From accidental drowning to drowning and other undetermined factors. It was a small change in words, but a massive shift in meaning. It reopened wounds, reignited public debate, and pushed investigators back toward Robert Wagner, whose story had evolved over time. When first questioned in 1981, Wagner insisted there was no fight that night, that Natalie had simply gone to bed, and later tried to secure the dinghy herself. But by 2011, his story changed. He admitted there had been an argument, not with Natalie, but with Christopher Walken. He said he had smashed a wine bottle in anger before going to his cabin to cool off. When he returned, Natalie was gone. The inconsistencies between his first and later statements only deepened suspicion. Captain Dennis Davern, now free of the guilt that had kept him silent, publicly accused Wagner of being responsible. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department agreed his testimony was credible. Calling Wagner a person of interest in 2018, detectives pointed to the bruises, the delayed response, and the conflicting stories as proof that the truth had not yet been told. Still, Wagner refused to meet with investigators. His silence grew louder than any denial could. Meanwhile, Lana Wood became her sister's most relentless voice for justice. She appeared in documentaries and interviews, demanding that authorities treat the case like any other suspicious death. "If you have nothing to hide," she said, "why not cooperate?" Her determination brought new light to Natalie's story. Even as the years passed and the key players aged, the tragedy also exposed the darker side of Hollywood, an era when studios controlled narratives and shielded their stars from scandal. In the early 1980s, image was everything. Robert Wagner, with his charm and reputation as the devoted husband, fit the picture-perfect mold. The system that had built him also protected him. Reports were softened, witnesses were ignored, and uncomfortable questions were brushed aside in the name of maintaining Hollywood's glittering illusion. But time has a way of unearthing buried truths. When the #MeToo movement took hold decades later, stories of abuse, secrecy, and cover-ups began to surface. Suddenly, Natalie Wood's mysterious death didn't seem like an isolated tragedy. It looked like another chapter in an industry built on silence. Her story was revisited by journalists, authors, and documentary makers. Vanity Fair and CBS News both produced specials re-examining the case, featuring testimonies from witnesses who had been ignored the first time around. Former prosecutor Sam Perroni summed up the public sentiment best when he said, "If this had been a regular couple on a lake somewhere, the husband would have been questioned that night." That line struck a chord because it captured what so many believed, that Robert Wagner's fame had insulated him from scrutiny. Even now, at 95, Robert Wagner remains silent, refusing to engage with investigators or the media. His last public statements were filled with affection for Natalie, calling her the love of my life. But too many, that love story feels tainted by the weight of unanswered questions. Each passing year makes it harder to separate truth from myth, but the whispers never stop. Natalie Wood's life was a blend of brilliance and fragility. From her early fame in Miracle on 34th Street to her powerful performances in Rebel Without a Cause and West Side Story, she embodied both the strength and the vulnerability that made audiences adore her. Yet behind the success was a woman constantly battling her fears of the water, of betrayal, and of a world that too often demanded silence from its stars. Her story is more than a mystery. It's a mirror reflecting how power, love, and fame can twist truth into legend. Whether her death was an accident, a crime of passion, or something in between, one fact remains unshakable. The truth went into the water with her and has never fully surfaced. The waves off Catalina Island still hold the echoes of her final moments. A cry for help swallowed by the night, a voice that refuses to fade. And so, the mystery of Natalie Wood endures, a haunting echo of love, fame, and unanswered truth. Until justice surfaces, her story will linger in the waves of Hollywood's darkest waters. Thank you for watching, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more untold stories where beauty meets tragedy and secrets never truly sink.